January 19th, the major impact to payments for Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, and VA beneficiaries. I have all the details and exactly what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now just a few videos back, I was out talking about the debt ceiling, national debt, and how the United States is completely 100% broke. Well, believe it or not, this has a huge impact to fixed income benefits, and that's what I want to focus on here in the video because we are rapidly approaching the deadline of January 19th. I also want to talk about the plan floating around Congress and what their plan is for your monthly benefits. Let's get into it as we have a lot to talk about here in this video. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video as it's totally free to do so, and because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on, and most importantly, how all of these changes are going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course, just stay in tune with all of this information because it is a very busy time right now. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet so you don't miss any videos going forward, and also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that is my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, let's get into it and talk about what this January 19th deadline means, the announcements out of the Treasury, and the plan out of Congress and what they want to do for fixed income beneficiaries. All right, so this is actually a very important topic. In fact, in late 2021, we dealt with the same issue, the debt ceiling limit. Let me break down the details of this really fast here. Now again, I don't want to go into a ton of detail on the debt ceiling simply because I talked about it in a lot more detail just in a few videos back here. So let me just hit on this really quickly, and then I want to talk about what this means for fixed income beneficiaries. Basically what it means is the debt ceiling as of right now is sitting at $31.4 trillion. In other words, that's how much they can basically spend until they breach the debt limit, okay? That's basically until they've used their full credit line. Like on a credit card, you have a credit line of say $1,000. They basically fulfilled the entire credit line. So in other words, they need to push out the credit line even further so they can spend more money that we don't have, right? So that's basically what it comes down to, okay? Now, this is a major problem, and it comes down to Congress to raise the debt ceiling, okay? Now, here's the thing. As of right now, Congress doesn't really have any plans on raising the debt ceiling. Now, here's what it comes down to, and we talked about this way back in the end of 2021 as well. In the event of not raising the debt ceiling or breaching the debt ceiling, in other words, we've defaulted, in other words, we don't have money, we're not paying the bills, is basically what it comes down to on a national level. This could potentially impact in a huge way for fixed income beneficiaries. Okay. Now, that's what I want to talk about here because this is very important, and let me break down the plan that is floating around Congress. So here's what it comes down to, and I've done a lot of extra research on this. So again, I want to make this very clear. I am not here trying to instill fear in anybody, but rather I want to give you the information so you can understand what is actually going on and what this may mean for your benefit. All right, so here's what it comes down to. In the event of a breach of the debt ceiling or a default in the country, in other words, they're broke and they've defaulted on the bills. In other words, they can't pay the bills. This could potentially impact and or disrupt the distribution of payments for Social Security, SSDI, retirement, survivors, SSI, and VA beneficiaries. It does not necessarily mean that your benefit would stop, but it means that your benefit could be delayed kind of a lot, okay? It could be delayed by days. It could potentially be delayed by weeks. Now, let me ask you, would that be a good thing? That would be terrible. That'd be a really bad situation, okay? Now, again, I'm not saying that this is going to happen for sure. I'm just simply telling you, this is some of the ramifications of a potential breach or a potential default in this country. It could potentially delay your payments in a pretty significant way. However, Congress, as much as we do not have any faith in them to do anything at all, they actually do have a plan, and let me tell you the details of their plan. Basically, what they're talking about right now is, like I said, Congress isn't really working on raising the debt ceiling. However, let me step back for just a second here. All right, so here's what it comes down to. January 19th is the date in which the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, has indicated we're going to be basically hitting the debt limit by that time. We'll be reaching the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling on January 19th. Well, guess what? As of this recording, that's only like a few days away, okay? It is not far at all. However, the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, has also indicated just the other day that the Treasury will start to do some special accounting maneuvers to make sure that we do not actually default. However, she can only do this for so long. She actually anticipates that they can do these special maneuvers. Again, whatever that happens to be, sounds very suspicious to me. I don't know, it sounds really phony. But anyway, that's what they're doing, is these special maneuvers out until about early June. So they can potentially push off a potential default until early June. At that point, Congress has to do something. If they don't, we default. And that's not good, okay? Not good at all, okay? Here's what the deal is, though. So this gives us a little bit more runway. It gives us a little bit more time for Congress to go back and forth and be, dramatic with each other and, play their kicking and screaming games and whatever else they do back and forth at each other, and it gives them a little bit more time here, a couple more months. But realistically, we know how Congress, they waste a lot of time. All right, so here's what it means, and this is the plan out of Congress. So the plan out of Congress is this much. In the event that we can no longer pay the bills, as in if they do not raise the debt ceiling, or if we potentially are right at the brink of a default in this country, they're floating this plan around right now to make sure that the Treasury continues to pay the debt, as in pay the interest on all the debt, not necessarily pay the principal or anything like that, just simply pay interest payments. And then also make sure and ensure that those payments for Social Security, SSDI, retirement survivors, SSI, and VA are also maintained, okay? That is really, really, really good news right there, okay? So here's what it comes down to. Even if Congress cannot come together on an agreement to raise the debt ceiling and we're potentially looking at a default, the plan out of Congress is, no matter what happens, they're basically saying, hey, if we really mess this thing up and we don't get our work done, we're going to make sure that these payments to millions of fixed income beneficiaries continue to go out, and we will continue to pay the interest on the national debt. So even if they don't get their work done, they're still basically floating this plan saying, worst case scenario, we don't get our work done, but we will make sure that payments remain going out and remain, in circulation for fixed income beneficiaries. And this encompasses about 70 plus million beneficiaries. So when we break it all down, again, I know I've kind of gone through a lot of different details in this video, but what the moral of the story is, in the event of a potential default or in the event that the debt ceiling is not raised, Congress has actually come together and they floated this plan to basically say, if this happens, make sure the payments still go out. That's really good news. Really, really good news, okay? However, if we still go into a default or if we go into a situation where they do not raise the debt ceiling, it's going to be really bad for the entire country and it's going to be really bad for the economy, okay? It's going to be really bad for the markets, the stock market, the crypto market, basically all the markets. They're going to be very, very volatile. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to your monthly check, it sounds like Congress has already agreed that this would be the plan, is to no matter what, make sure that those payments get out to people. That's good. I mean, seriously, here's the deal. They got a huge mess on their hands right now, okay? I don't even know how else to describe it now. If they've got a mess, and I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that mess. But they have this mess on their hands right now, and they recognize that fixed income beneficiaries, about 70 plus million people, need those checks, and they're also agreeing that this would be the plan in the event that they don't get their work done. So at least they have somewhat of a conscience here. So that's good to know, right? So what it comes down to is, in the event if they did not have this plan, we could potentially see very long delays in delivery of payments. Now, it does not mean that Social Security does not have the money. The Social Security Administration has the money. Basically, what my understanding of this is that the distribution or like the administration parts of the distribution of payments is where the funding would not be. Therefore, that's why the delay would possibly happen. So that is my understanding of it. It doesn't mean that Social Security doesn't have the money. Social Security has trillions of dollars. It's not that. That's not the problem. The problem would be more like the words I'm looking for. The process in which that they use to distribute the payments is where the funding would no longer be, therefore disrupting the process of getting that money out to people. Again, that's just my understanding of it. So it's very complicated stuff here. They've got a whole mess going on here, but either way, this is what it comes down to. And we're coming up really close here to the day in which we would potentially basically use all the money that they've allocated, right? The $31.4 trillion as of right now. So, a couple other quick side notes. I thought this was very interesting. This has virtually nothing to do with anything other than the fact I thought it was super interesting. So as of Wednesday, so just a few days ago, they still had $78 billion left to go until they reached the debt limit of $31.4 trillion. So they had $78 billion to go. They spend money very fast. $78 billion lasts them only a few days. Not only that, the Treasury, as of Wednesday, also had $346 billion that they could play around with. So again, this is why Janet Yellen is anticipating that they can push this thing out until early June. But at that point, the $78 billion that they're still sitting on will be gone. The $346 billion in the Treasury will likely be gone, okay? That's why she thinks that they can still push this out until about early June. But until then, they've got a little bit more than $400 billion to go. They spend that very fast. It's crazy, these numbers, right? So anyway, just want to bring this to your attention, let you know what's going on here. We all got to stay tuned with all these things that are moving and what's going on here, because it's a weird time, right? But we knew this was coming. This is no surprise to anybody. We talked about it way back in late 2021. We knew that all that they were doing was kicking the can down the road, and here we are. We're right down at the end where the can landed, right? They gave it a big old kick, and where it landed is right now. So here it is. Tee it up and kick the can down the road again is basically what they're going to do. So let's see how far they can kick it, if they can kick it at all, right? Maybe they'll kick it and it'll stick on their foot, right? Who knows? With a bunch of... Anyway, I'll keep my thoughts to myself. Anyway, all right, let's leave it there for now, and I'll come back and I'll keep you updated with any other details as I find them. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Have a good one. I hope this one helps you. And leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below, and I'll do my best to respond to them. All right, enjoy, and I'll catch you again later in the